tinfoil hat. Oh, what the fuck are you guys even talking about?
Global controls will have to be imposed, and a world governing body will be created to enforce them.
Welcome to Tinfoil Hat. We go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind.
Are you ready to get your mind blown?
Yo, I can't hear the snares in my cans.
Like Eminem, were you Eminem
Can't
now?
hear my snares in my cans. Yo, what's up, God? Morning, Swarm. Welcome to Tinfoil Hat. You know I am. You know I'm here to do. I'm here to. Join me as always, Xavier Guerrero and Ann on the ones and two. Jay Nice, Juicy Johnny. Guys, we have a great show for you today. We have he's got a great book, The Conspiracy Theorist Survival Guide. Author John Kirwin is here. We're very honored to have him on. We're not going to spend a lot of time on the intro, but go check out Chaos Twins. We're almost to 30 grand. That's our goal. If everybody who listens to the show just gave $1, we could do multiple animations, which is my dream and my goal. So join us. Go to chaostwins.com. Become part of the Chaos Army of Chaos, as always. And then myself, this guy right over here, Xavier Guerrero, will be live December 16th in El Monte. I got to get them to take down all the old ones. El Monte comedy show, myself, Xavier Guerrero, and who knows what else. And then Batavia, Illinois in January. I got other dates coming up. Plus, the last Comedy Chaos is on the 12th in the main room. Lineup is already killing it. New t-shirts, new hats. The Swarm beanies. We got the Magic Mushroom Santa's back. Where's the list? Yahweh or the Highway t-shirts. Just go to SamTripoli.com, click the link, or go to tinfoilat-t-shirts.com. Anything else, guys?
Nope.
Let's get into it. Enjoy this interview with author John Kirwin.
Drink from the fountain.
All right, let's get into it. Very excited to have this gentleman. I think it's an important conversation to have, and I think his book is perfect for what we need to talk about today. So he is an author. His book is called The Conspiracy Theorist Survival Guide. Please welcome John Kirwin. How are you, John?
Excellent. Doing great. Good to be with you guys.
John, we're very thankful that you would come and join us. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. For those who may not be familiar with you and your work, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and where our listeners can find you?
Okay. Yeah. So a little bit about myself is I have been uncovering these controversial topics for just about 7 years. My entry into the rabbit hole was I realized the Federal Reserve wasn't federal, and that caused me to ask a question I think a lot of your listeners have asked themselves at some point in their journey, which is, well, if that's not true, what else isn't true? And what I found is that's kind of the entry point into becoming a conspiracy theorist, because ultimately what identifies us is that we have begun to question officialdom at the core. And that's something that we call, there's two categories of people in this journey. One is the unconvinced, or what we call normies. And then there's truthers, and they're not derogatory. It's just a handle so we can have some sort of, way to identify the two, because they are different. And what specifically identifies the normie is they don't know and they don't want to know. Whereas the truther has started to ask questions and they're turning over rocks. And that worldview difference creates a lot of conflict. So that's what happened with me. It ended up in a divorce after 24 years of marriage and 4 children, which is actually very common, I found out, as a content creator on YouTube. My channel is Wake Up or Else, all one word. My website is wakeuporelse.com. And, I've talked to a lot of people that have had divorces, but pretty much everybody gets big time pushback from just everybody, but what's really challenging is when it's your friends and family. So that's what the book's about.
I love it. So Wake Up or Else, is that a podcast as well?
Not yet. We're talking about it. But,
yeah, I think
we're
you
on a
should
bunch
pull
of
your
channels
audio, buddy. Pull your audio and put it out there. I'm shadow banned all into the netherworlds on YouTube. Whether it's, I had to basically take off all the conspiracy stuff off of YouTube just to keep my page, my channel. So I have a comedy podcast called Broken Simulation, and I had another podcast I did with a very popular comedian, Conspiracy Social Club, and he's a very big name, and I get the same exact amount of views on both channels, 13,000. No matter what we do, maybe if we put like a big name in the title, it might go up to like 20,000, maybe.
When the podcast with you and a guy named Johnny Woodard that nobody's heard of, and does better than the podcast with you and Brian Cowan, the famous Hollywood celebrity.
Yeah,
who's
it's like unbelievable.
Like, there's something weird going on.
Yeah. So the reason I bring that up is because audio is where like. For some reason, there are people who get shadow banned. We see people complain, but for the most part, these audio podcast networks let the conspiracies fly. Blessings.
Why do you think that is?
Because they can't stop it, because they did stop Alex Jones. You can't find Alex Jones on Apple.
Yeah.
That's the only one that they
but they got to nuke you to do that. They got to completely take you off the board.
I mean, you got to get nuked. I don't know why. I guess maybe
Weird,
from the from Apple's early origins and why they created their podcast app was to like let everybody be heard and not control it, but to platform it. So think about it, dude. I think it would help you grow a lot. So I'm very excited to talk to you about this because the whole point of and your book, let's get back to your book. Your book is basically about helping people to talk to their loved one, or just how to survive having a certain view of conspiracies, and how to survive basically living in society. Is that what your book is about?
Yeah, it gives you a lot of validation because a lot of the truther journey is very isolating. You're told to shut up or else. You're told you're crazy. And you get pushed out onto the fringe, and you're given a tinfoil hat, like the name of your podcast.
We love
which is all to shame you into silence. And so a lot of people knuckle under that. But, if you find out that there's millions of other people just like you, it's very empowering. And then, there's a lot of insight into the intellectual, spiritual, and emotional aspects. So what we're talking about is a little bit different content than what we typically do as truthers, where we're trying to, figure out how the matrix is bamboozling us out of a sense of self-preservation. This is more talking about the impact of finding out the moon landing is fake or 9/11 was fake. And then your spouse and your children don't find out, but they don't want to find out. That's the part that makes it intangible, okay? Because they don't know and they don't want to know. That's the centerpiece characteristic of a normie. In fact, it helps to understand that one of the greatest revelations I found out, one day my daughter told me, "Dad, I wish you were normal." And so it was painful.
I'm waiting for that conversation to come.
Oh, no.
My daughter's hit my stomach and goes, "Fat." So I can imagine what that must have felt like being told when you're going to be normal.
Well, I looked it up, and the word normal means conforming to a standard, usual, typical, or expected. Well, then I looked up conforming, and it means to comply with the rules or the standards. Well, that opened up my mind to what's really the dynamic between the two groups is that overnight, the truther changes from living on a party boat to living on a battleship. They're on a war footing. Because come on, man, we find out the people that run the world are Luciferian blood drinking psycho mobsters that want you dead.
Bro.
They don't know.
Come on. Come on. I'm in, dude. I'm in. This is like that Blind Melon video where the little bumblebee lady finds all the other bumblebees and they just all dance together in happiness. That's this thing.
Yeah.
I'm totally with you. So I had this weird, I have this weird brain I can't turn off. Sometimes I'll be sleeping, I'll wake up and I'll have a fully formed joke in my head. Like I've talked about this, like my 7 stages of grief of shitting your pants joke came when I was sleeping. So
Clearly beamed from the heavens.
Yeah, it's a download, bro. It's a download.
Elon Musk gets like Tesla on how to make cars, and you get fucking shit jokes.
Your pants jokes. But the reason I had this theory on like why people aren't up in arms right now. Why aren't they up in arms? And I've decided, obviously, we are human beings. We are mammals, right? Mammals. We're just a higher form of it, more intellectual, I guess you would say. And we have a lot of mammal traits, though. And I've come to the conclusion that one of these traits is, if you watch National Geographic, right, you'll see a herd of animals going, then out of nowhere comes this pack of predators. And the pack of predators come up and they clip off one of the mammals, right, one of the animals.
The weak one.
Any of them. The one they get, they clip it off. And what does the pack keep doing? Moving. The pack very rarely stops. The fact maybe some animals close to that animal try to do something. You'll see it in elephants occasionally and hippos occasionally. They'll fight back. But for the most part, the packs keep moving. And that's humanity right now. That is humanity. Humanity, they just like, hey man, all the heart attacks are up. Keep moving. Hey, you were lied to about Russiagate. That was completely formulated. The woman who looked you right in the eye told you that Russia was interfering, had to pay a fine to the Federal Election Committee for interfering with elections. Keeps moving. Keeps moving. Yep. Now the new thing on Twitter right now is Pizzagate's not real. And the Washington Post has decided they're going to pull their ads off of Twitter now because he tweeted a thing about Pizzagate.
I'm sure that'll be devastating to Twitter to lose the Washington Post advertising.
Dude, you have to see this guy. This guy the tide has turned, bro. And we're gonna get back to your book. I just want to read you this. This guy hit me up, and he's this guy on the Twitter's like, this guy on Twitter's like, his name is Victor C. He's like, I didn't know where he's going with this tweet, but the Washington Post just announced they're halting advertising on this platform after Elon Musk retweeted a conspiracy theory. This is the first national paper to do so. It's a big deal. It's great news. Every media outlet that cares should do the same, care about the truth should do the same. And bro, this guy is getting murked in his comment section of that tweet. I mean, there's not one positive. It is just delete your account. You're a scumbag. What are you hiding? All that stuff. So everyone gets really mad at Pizzagate. I had lunch with a good friend of mine who I love. He goes, "You don't believe in Pizzagate?" I go, "Do I believe that they were doing things to kids in basements?" Okay, I'll get fine. You don't want to believe that? Fine, we'll throw that away. Do I believe there's a giant pedophile ring ran out of Washington D.C.? Yeah, it's called Epstein's. Like we all know that.
And it wasn't, and just because it wasn't that basement, but there's kids in basements.
And by the way, he told you the basement doesn't exist, except for he did an interview talking about his basement at his pizza shop.
And then he went in there just to shoot the computer. What a coincidence!
Right? So John, back to you. I mean,
so let me just jump in on what you're saying, because what you're describing is the frustration that you have isn't so much that they're not in the know, it's their unwillingness to be in the know.
Yes.
Like if what you believed wasn't true, would you want to know it? And they're just like stunned because the answer, integrity demands the answer to that is yes, but they really don't want to know. They're like the British guards who look forward. And you go up to them and you're like, "Hi!" You try to get them to blink, and so normies don't look. They won't look.
Yep, they won't look. And why? I sat this down. I'll hear your theories. I would love to hear, and then I'll give you my theories. Why do you think they won't look?
Oh, you could do an entire show on why they don't look.
Yeah.
It's very complicated. It's not one thing. It's a lifetime of modeling okay, Jane, our guest today is a unproven journalist who traffics in fringe conspiracy theories. And they're going to be trying to tell us that the moon landing is fake, of course. Here he is. Okay, so that's what we've been presented our whole life, where the officialdom people are modeling snarky, cynical, biting, characterizations of anybody that questions the official story. And you're sitting there all through your life, subconsciously absorbing that. So then when somebody in your circle starts talking the same stuff, you come out with the same algorithm. I call it the death to truther algorithm. It's mind control. It's a triggered mind control response.
Yeah, but I don't, like I said, I don't even think it's purposely. Like I do a show with like these cholos Mexican guys, and I brought up dinosaurs aren't real, and they couldn't comprehend. But then I started telling them, like, then why didn't the Aztecs find dinosaurs? Why didn't the Egyptians have dinosaurs? And I was like, how deep did they dig? And now they're questioning. But in the beginning, they instantly want to shut me down. And most people would have been like, all right, that's the end of that, because I can't stand my ground. But I stand there, and then at the end, they turned it off, and I was like, can I get one of those videos?
Well, yeah.
And I gave him a video, and now he's like, damn, I got to return all the fucking dinosaurs I bought my kid now.
No, you got to let your kids, you got to, like the prophet Eddie Bravo's like, let your kids be blue pilled for a little while. Let them enjoy it until they're old enough. I always think that there's a couple things going on. I think the reason a lot of people don't want to get into conspiracies is there's a couple reasons. One is everyone wants to believe they have a really good bullshit meter. And they can tell when somebody's lying to them, and to find out that not only did they not detect the bullshit, but they fell for a hook, line, and sinker, and almost like defines who they are at this point. The second reason is that they have children, and they don't want to believe that they brought their children into a world ran by, as you said, blood drinking, kitty, pedophile, vampires, right? They don't want to believe that. They don't want to believe any of that. That scares them too much. And then the final reason is then they have to ask themselves if all these conspiracy theorists, tinfoil hatters, which I wear those names proudly, does not scare me, I don't run from it. I know there's people in the, let's just say the news, content creating world that have been touching on the side of conspiracies. And even if they don't believe they're conspiracy theorists, when you tend to talk geopolitics, most of that would fall under a conspiracy of people conspiring to do certain things to take over geopolitical areas and natural resources and all that stuff. If all this stuff's true, then you ask yourself, am I participating in it? Is my paycheck directly involved in what is going on? And if I start to talk about this, will it affect my paycheck? And if the answer is yes, then they're never going to do it. They'll do it on the side. That's the whole thing with the woke stuff right now. Like, I call it out on stage and I see people get angry, but behind closed doors, they're all like, dude, what's up with this bullshit? What's up with this bullshit? What's up with that bullshit? I'm not even going to get into the names of people that I know that openly complain to me, not openly, behind closed doors, complain that they went and pitched ideas and they were told that, we're not taking white guys. And like, they don't understand like that. And it infuriates them privately. Openly, they just keep moving on. The herd keeps moving on. They just don't care. When I'm just like, well, that's not right, and I'm going to say something about it. Any thoughts on this? Am I just yelling?
No, it's totally right on. Like the herd idea is really central because people are tribal. The example I give is if a young kid moves into a new town, so they don't know anybody in the high school. It's their first day and they're nervous, and they go into the lunchroom and they're standing there with their tray wanting to be accepted. And they scan the room, and you got the jocks, the goth, the nerds, the techies and whatever. And you know, all of a sudden one of the kids in the goth group raises their hand and says, hey, come on over here. Where do you think they're going to go?
There.
Right?
Yep.
They're boom, they beeline. Now, what then happens though is then they adopt the beliefs of that tribe. So now that's everybody other than us. Our tribe is truthers. Their tribe is normies. Now we come to them and we think we're going to use what I call the shock and awe approach.
Yeah.
And that's the idea.
The lizard
Surely
people,
if I give them enough examples, right, they're gonna believe what I've discovered. No, because the matrix shuts your brain off. It puts your head in cement and you can't question officialdom. You trust Fauci. You trust the system. We've stopped trusting, right? So you going at them, bam, 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 bam. And finally, though, there's so much meat on the bone that they'll realize that their conscience is starting to bother them because your examples are so, they have no answer. And so they'll always fall back to, well, what difference does it make? I still have to go to work, don't I? We've all heard that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, what that is they're not admitting that they agree with you. They're tacitly suggesting that if it was true, it wouldn't matter. But that's not true, because if you find out, you know, NASA's lying to the entire world and the media's in on it, or 9/11 was fake, or the earth is flat, the Mandela effect's real, just pick anyone. It matters. It's life-changing to find out you're in the Truman Show. So it's a lie that it doesn't matter. It basically means you don't believe it. And so the bottom line is you're asking for a big ask. You're asking people to leave their tribe, not just adopt a new idea.
Yes, you're totally right.
A lot of people aren't willing to do that. They're like, no way, Jose, I'm not joining your posse because I could see what you're going through. I'm the one that's doing it to you. So I'm not going there. Like you said, they don't want the persecution. It's easier to deceive somebody than to convince them they've been deceived. So pride is a huge thing to overcome. And like you said, also, it's all bad news for the most part, and they want their happy life. So they're like, you know, that's what I experienced. I was in the house 5 years as a truther. 3 years, I was talking about it. Last 2 years, I didn't say anything because I was told shut up or else.
Damn.
Yeah.
And I was basically happy dad. That's it.
Guys, real quick, I want to tell you about my boy, James McMahon, and Copy My Crypto. The crypto market's starting to heat up. Let me tell you about Copy My Crypto. Guys, listen, we've seen so many people making ridiculous money from crypto. But did you know you could do the same? The Copy My Crypto membership site shows you the coins that YouTuber James McMahon personally holds and allows you to copy them. It's like having a big brother who knows what he's doing. You don't need to know a thing about crypto or how to invest, as you simply do what he does. So let me tell you more about James. He runs Crypto with James YouTube channel, which despite heavy censorship has over 26,000 subscribers. Since March 2020, he's told his viewers to buy 26 crypto coins. Had you put $100 in each of those coins, it went up to be worth $123,000. Of the 26 coins, his top pick of the year, a coin called Phantom, went up 692 times from when he said. That one call alone retired a number of people, including guys in their 20s and 30s. Remember, this is public knowledge. You can go to YouTube and verify this yourself. So if you'd like to join the 2,800 members who copy James, then stop what you're doing and head right over to copymycrypto.com/TFH. That's copymycrypto.com/TFH. That's TFH. You'll not only find proof of everything I said, but my listeners get full access for just $1. Once again, that's copymycrypto.com/TFH. The recession is here, guys. You can suffer like everyone else or choose to thrive. James is the real deal. Go visit the site now.
So okay, on this show, we kind of talk about how you don't mention flat Earth on the first date because it could scare a female away.
Yeah.
And I want to know how you brought it up to your wife. Did it start with COVID? Was it because was it gradual? Did you hit her all of a sudden?
Well, you know, there's a lot of dead bodies behind a lot of truthers because we get in And it's like, imagine the Truman Show. He finds out he's in a TV studio, and then he says, well, what difference does it make? I still got to go to work, don't I? That would be unthinkable. It's so completely volcanic when you realize the media lied about 9/11, and they're all in on it. NASA's completely set up to deceive humanity. It's too big to just, oh, well, that's bad. Well, let's go back to work. It's like, your entire world, it's like the Matrix movie. You find out you're in a pod or something. It totally blows your mind.
Yeah.
It changes all of your ideals.
It really does. And it's so crazy because, you go, okay, everything is all bad news. Like when I get to where I am, okay, which, wherever I am I'm very deep into it, right? I'm very deep. You start, let's say, whatever is your first conspiracy, mine was Santa Claus, and then the second one was the Iron Sheik and Hacksaw Jim Duggan caught in a car together. that destroyed my reality.
What was the first real adult thing though that
was
as an adult though? What, do you
I was
remember?
going to say, you just found out about Santa Claus?
Yeah. Well, I don't want to go into the conspiracy of Santa Claus in case somebody's listening, but
Was it the burning thing? I hear you talk about that a lot, or was it before that? Would you say?
Okay. When I realized everything was a lie, okay, my father raised me to believe nothing what I hear and half of what I see. Okay, which tends to make you paranoid. And that was before AI, by
Keep
the
you on
way.
your toes, yeah.
That was my father going, okay, not everything that is presented to you is real. My father was very much a very paranoid man. And, sometimes I can work for you, sometimes I can work against you. Again, I would tell you the big time where I go, that I can remember is when I saw Bill Clinton at the induction of Trent Lott's portrait in the Library of Congress.
Yeah.
And it was Trent Lott, it was Newt Gingrich, it was Orrin Hatch, and it was Bill Clinton, and they were all smiling and laughing together after I just watched those three guys try to murk this dude in the center ring of Washington WrestleMania for the whole 8 years that guy was in, and now they're all hanging out laughing together. And I go, oh man, that was all a lie. They lied to us, and I never trusted them ever again.
Good one.
Ever again. But I still believed in the Democrats at that point because at that point, I hadn't realized everything that was Clinton was doing. And I was like peace, love, and everything, like equality, like what I call common sense beliefs, which is everyone should be treated equally. Everybody should love each other.
Lesser of two evils. That's a very common sense belief. Like, well, at least the Democrats aren't as bad as the Republicans.
Yeah, but I wasn't even, I would tell you, I'm public educated out of New York. Like I didn't have, it wasn't until Noam Chomsky and I read, Manufacturing Consent that I realized that, the media is lying to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't realize it. That was the first time I started to get so doubt that they're manipulating my reality. But that moment in the Library of Congress, I was like, this is all just a giant effing lie. But I still believed in the Democrats because which I think is common sense, which is everyone's equal. We should all be treated well. Everyone should be able to be taken care of. All the presentation that the Clintons were sent in by the Bushes and the Koch brothers to destroy. The Bushes destroyed the Republican Party, and then the Clintons destroyed the Democrats. It's like the Koch brothers brought them in to bring the Democrats to the center, which we see right now. They completely they're pro-war, right? They're anti free speech. They're anti.
Hardly a difference now between the parties.
There really isn't. Just it's just like which side of the street you barking on at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, like I just woke up to that, and then it's ever since then. And then this podcast came from the fact that I was watching. It was very interesting because I was watching people like Jimmy Dore and all these other guys on the left talking about, Hillary Clinton just jacking the primary from Bernie Sanders, and I was like, whoa, that's like they were bringing up things like exit polls and stuff like that. And it was all clicking to me. And so I'm like, wow, and I'm like, you know what? I'm loving this shit. I'm going to start a podcast. And like, why am I going to call it Tim? You've all heard this. I call it Tinfoil Hat because I wanted to take the most demonized term I could find and just own it. And just own it. And that's why I do. So when people are like conspiracy theorists, oh yeah, I am. And it's very interesting because now you're starting to see people like starting to get into the you have Whitney Cummings, who's my friend, and obviously I don't agree with everything she's done. She knows that. But now she's talking conspiracies on Joe Rogan's podcast. You're like, oh, it's like, oh, okay, which way this is going now, and that's fine. I love it because that's
You're
more
winning. You're winning. Like
yeah.
in a weird,
but I'm always in head of the curve. I'm not going to get into the long history, but I'm always in head of the curve, and then everybody meets up with me, and that's where we are right now. You have Chris DiStefano. He's like doing conspiracy shit. So I find it interesting, but I do think it's important to help. The biggest thing I want to do, because we're blessed that the whole point of this show, John, is to introduce people to conspiracy. I've said this since day one. This show is I want to be. We do some pretty deep shows, but I want to be the training wheels. I want to be the shallow end of the pool, so you can dip your toe in, wade around, and then when you want to go like even deeper, then you can go to all the really great guys who are just doing deep dives when you're ready for that shit. But this is meant to be the introduction.
There's the conspiracy guys. He does 5 hours on the topics we do. So it's just a little, you dabble here, head over there to conspiracy guys or any of the other guys, and they go deep.
Yeah. I mean, you got all these great podcasts out there that I love that you can find. Go watch any Union of the Unwanted, and any of those people's podcasts are like such deep, amazing dives. So you can get all that. The Grammarica guys, Charlie Robinson, the Ripple Effect with Ricky, our Big Dumb podcast, our Big Dumb Mouse, with Midnight Mike. They're all great podcasts. So they do deep dives on some stuff. But
get the ball rolling for people.
Where do we want to start with how, like, the biggest thing I notice, I can always tell when somebody gets new into the conspiracy world, they almost want to become Paul Revere, and they want to ride around and yell about the lizard people are coming, and it gets shocking to people, and they get really freaked out, and they start to ostracize people, and then I start to realize that's kind of what I did at first, because I'm just a shit talker, and maybe I could have presented it a little better. But what are your thoughts on like how when you wake up at first, what's the best way to approach this stuff?
Well, like I said, there's a lot of times there's a lot of dead bodies behind us because of that. The way I look at it is, if you're in a burning building, you're supposed to be obsessed. That is the normal reaction for a red-blooded human being, because you've discovered that the people that control things want you dead. I don't take kindly to being slow killed and enslaved, and so you run into destiny. Like William Wallace said, everybody dies, but not all men live. And so when you realize that you're in a sci-fi horror movie in a war zone, you lose your taste for going bowling and doing the landscaping, and the very thing that drives us is this idea that if that's not true, what else isn't true? So you start flipping over rocks. Well, it turns out that whatever entry point you came in on, there's many more of them, and so you keep finding out more crazy stuff, and it's deeper, and the hole gets deeper and deeper. Well, the way that you're viewed by those that aren't digging is you're obsessed. And obsessed is a character flaw. It's an inordinate, distorted view and fascination of things that's not healthy, right? But it is healthy if you're being murdered and enslaved. That's the problem. we are acting correctly by being obsessed. The normie is apathetic. And like you said, it's the herd mentality is very frustrating to us. It's like a bewitchment. It's like, what's the matter with you? You just want to slap them. And you know, what we've been telling our friends and family is you're not going to be ready for what's bubbling under the surface now that you can't perceive. When it comes on the scene, you're not going to be ready. Now, what happened? Are we censored, or can we talk about the health emergency topic? Is that something we can discuss?
No, this show is, I mean, there's someone who takes our stuff, puts it on YouTube, but that's not our channel. So you can talk about anything you want.
Okay, cool. So one of the things that was just a ridiculous idea is that people that run things want us dead. Like the Georgia Guidestones, right? Said they want to reduce the population to 500 million. So what happened with the vax is you have people like Dr. Michael Eon, he was like the head scientist for Pfizer. He calls it a bioweapon, and he calls it a culling of humanity and an extinction level event. And it's purposely designed to kill everybody. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So these people, and now it's shown that probably 20 million people have died. Direct data linking the shot to 20 million deaths.
Unbelievable.
Right?
Unbelievable. Okay. Nobody, and the herd keeps moving.
Mm-hmm. So right. So what does that say? It says if the worm is on the hook that the fish wants to eat, it matters that it's on a hook.
Yeah.
So it matters this journey that we're on, that you found out the moon landing was fake, or 9/11 was fake, or the media is lying, or the political system is a guild. It's two wings of the same bird. Whatever the entry point is, it matters. And what I found is that integrity is what dictates whether you're going to let the truth in or not. We've already hit on it to some degree. But integrity is like when you do what you know is right, no matter what the consequences. And we've just already talked about how when you are faced with embracing these concepts, you know within about 0.3 seconds that it's going to cost you dearly. You're going to get persecuted. You got to get rid of your pride. You're going to have to retool your worldview. It could cost you friends and family, cost you job and opportunities, all kinds of fallout, right? And for many people, they're compromisers. They decide, I don't want that pain. I like my happy life. Whereas folks like you and I are like, I don't care what happens. I got to go where the truth is. And there's almost a sense of destiny that comes into a lot of people's hearts, where they're visited by the idea that this is profound and I've got to do something. All men live, but not all men die. Or sorry, all men die, but not all men live.
I love that quote. That quote is great.
Yes.
I might get that tattooed.
Dig it. So that's what real men are truthers. Real men are not afraid to stand up to the spouse, to the kids.
Nice, yeah.
To the lifelong friends who give you the ultimatum. Okay, chapter 6 of my book is the 3 stages of rejection. At first, they keep it light. Oh, I don't go in for conspiracy theories. Ho, ho, ho. Second level is they start trying to manage you. They give you edicts and decrees. When we go to my in-laws, I don't want you to talk about your crazy things for more than 3 minutes. All right, but level 3, oh yeah, you know what I'm talking about. That's why you're laughing, right? Level 3, though, is what I call. What's that?
I said we've all been told that. Yo, keep your conspiracies on the low. I got family here. They're political. They're on the left. Yeah. They're on the left. Don't bring up Trump. I don't care about your thoughts. Do it on your podcast.
I used to have some wars over Ron Paul with people in the family at the holidays, man. Oh my God. It was like, people who were, I'm just going to
disrespectful, man.
I'm going to vote for Clinton.
That's super disrespectful. Like, especially if you're a husband and a father and you're being told these kind of demeaning edicts, okay? But you don't want to sacrifice your family on the altar of being a truther. I understand that. So you start to pull back. And you start to, accommodate their boundary or whatever. But it doesn't matter. The last 2 years I was with the family, I was totally silent. I would just go to the dinner table and I would just eat. I would only talk about hair, nails, fun, seasons in the sun, movies, play dates, vacations, landscaping, bowling, beep, beep, boop, bam, right? Just happy dad, okay? And then they would allow me in their life. However, it didn't matter because it was the elephant in the room. I was already had attained kook status. I'm on the fringe. Something's wrong with dad, and he's a kook, and I slipped down into kookdom. So ultimately, we have to decide how we're going to live our life, and we're going to be in the battle because there's a battle raging all around us, or we're going to choose our human need and just be happy. Like my next door neighbor when I was still married. She was a complete kook, complete conspiracy theorist kook nut job, living in a basement. Not really. That's just how they characterize us. But she didn't tell her husband or her kids. Her husband was well off. And I got no problem with that. She was a secret agent. But me, I'm like, I'm self-employed my whole life. I'm an entrepreneur. I was in the ministry. I was a sales trainer. I'm Mach 5 with my hair on fire. That's how God made me.
Yeah.
Okay, you're not going to shut me up. But what I wanted to do, I wanted to go over here and make videos. I won't talk to you about my, quote, crazy things, but I'm going to go over here and I'm going to make these videos to do some battle with the devil, right? No. Basically, I was told I had to recant. And I'm like, with all due respect, I wouldn't put that on you. And then I was like, that was it. End of marriage.
Damn.
Yeah.
I'm 61. I live in an apartment now. By myself. My kids barely talk to me.
I'm sorry, man. I'm really
It's
sorry
hell on
about
earth.
that. I'm sorry, man. Well, we love you. You have 3 new friends today, so you can just have
That's
that
sweet.
too. If we were on MySpace, you'd be in my top 6.
No, but you got to think about it. During COVID, how should your mom get the vaccine? Should she not? I had an argument with my sister about.
I had a fight with my brother and my mother, and I lost that battle. And my mother is now on fucking blood thinners for the rest of her life.
God, that sucks.
And it's like we've talked about this on the show, but it's like nobody loves her more than me on planet Earth. There's nobody on the planet Earth that loves my mother more than me. It's impossible. And for some reason, the people on the screen have more validity in this topic than I do. I don't know why. And it's just,
you get why people who claim to have been, educated for years and years and years.
Your mom was a teacher.
With,
Yeah, he's
with your
right,
mom.
yeah.
I mean, come on, you know why.
okay. So Johnny, I'm just going to say something to you. Okay.
No, I'm not defending it.
Our
I'm just saying you know
relationship
why.
isn't as strong as our love for our mothers, right? We have a bond, but we love each other, right? We've been working together for a long time, and we celebrate the
not hearing what I
wins.
said though.
Yeah, I'm hearing what you're saying.
You know why though. It's not like she's got no reason. That's why I'm just saying.
No,
the
I
reason.
understand it, but Johnny, there's been times in my life where you've made suggestions, and I've listened to it.
Right, but what I'm saying is she wouldn't trust you to do like a medical procedure on her, even though you guys have this long relationship. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
That's why.
but I mean, if someone goes, "Mom, this isn't what they're telling you,"
Right, but
wouldn't you wouldn't even like Dana's full vax person didn't get the vax because she listened to me, because she I guess because she lives with me and she saw what I was saying at the beginning of Russiagate, and it turned out to be true. Yeah. I had bought a little bit of credibility with her to the point that she went it was like her family was very upset with me, and I have nothing but love for them because they've shown me kindness all the time, and it made me sad that they were upset with me, because all I'm trying to do, I have loyalties to 4 things in my life, right? Yep. Family, friends, humanity, and the truth. Those are the 4 loyalties I have. Anything else, get the fuck out, okay? And maybe it's blown up in my face. Maybe being this free thinking scares some people in a town where you have to get 1 million green lights to get the job. You have to get all these from the bottom to the top, from the casting director all the way to the fucking top person that signs off on the project. There must be a green light at every level. 1 red light, you're out. Mm-hmm. Okay, so these people, they have to bend over backward. They don't have to, but they want to work in this industry that is just a bunch of conformist scumbags. And I don't hate anybody. But it is dark and it is evil. And it's just like, I watch it change people. I don't hate them. I love them. I wish they would realize everything I do is for love. And I wish they would understand that I've heard them say the same things. They should realize what I'm doing. But that's just life.
I guess my point is that's why this issue is the most insidious. It's because it's the people that are meant to be taking care of us that we're supposed to be able to trust that have betrayed all of us.
Well, that's the whole thing, dude. It's like they realize that we are trusting human beings and they have reptilian brains and they're apex predators.
That's it.
Okay? They are all apex predators. And if they're not apex predators, they're sellouts for cash and prizes. But what happens is everything blows up in their face eventually. That's my opinion. I could be wrong. But we'll see. Like usually their kids end up to be completely fucked up because they neglected them their whole life and stuff like that. So we'll see. But I understand, man. I'm sorry you're going through that. Guys, I want to tell you about one of my favorite apps out there, one of my favorite ways to learn language, and that is Babbel. I use it myself. ¿Cómo está?
Muy bien, ¿y tú?
Yeah, we bien. Johnny, you don't know the language of love like we do.
Neither do you, apparently.
We learned that through Babbel. Let me tell you about Babbel. Hey, guys, real quick, I want to tell you about our friends at Babbel. Listen, do you want to speak a new language? Babbel is perfect for that. This fall, you can start speaking a new language with Babbel. Why Babbel? Because it works. Instead of paying hundreds of dollars for a private tutor or fooling yourself with language apps that are a little more than games, Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons are designed by over 150 language experts to help you speak a new language in as little as 3 weeks. Babbel is designed by real people for real conversations. All of Babbel's tips and tools are for learning a new language are approachable, accessible, rooted in real-life situations, and delivered with conversational-based teaching. I want to learn Spanish and Armenian. What do you want to learn?
We actually use Babbel. We are looking and just doing Spanish right now.
I'm going Portuguese.
Whoa,
Brazilian.
bro,
I like the big booty Brazilians.
Yeah, so you're gonna go down there, you're gonna be like, look at me, I could speak Spanish to you, but I'm gonna speak in your native tongue.
Exactly.
Oh.
Portuguese is where it's at.
I'm in, dude. I'm in. I should call you up when I'm trying to learn Spanish and try to talk to you in Spanish.
Oh, I got you.
I should do that one time.
Cuando
Just keep
tú quieras. Cuando tú quieras.
We'll keep it real simple. 5-minute conversations. Okay. So here's what's going to happen, guys. Okay. Here's what we need you to do. I want you to know that studies from Yale, Michigan State University, and others continue to prove Babbel is better. For instance, one study found that using Babbel for 15 hours is equivalent to a full semester at college. With over 10 million subscriptions sold, Babbel's real language learning for real conversations. So here's what's special, okay? For a limited time, a limited deal for our listeners to get you started right now. Get 55% off Babbel subscriptions, okay? But for only our listeners, go to Babbel.com/tinfoil. That's right, just for our listeners. Babbel.com/tinfoil. Get 55% off Babbel.com/tinfoil, spelled BABBEL.com/tinfoil. Rules and restrictions may apply, mi amigo. So Johnny's been with me for a long time. He started on my other podcast and he came over here once, we had to make some changes. And so Johnny saw the kind of me waking up, me going public with my views on how the world works. And the Pizzagate thing, which is hilarious to me, which is the real thing that, the Russia, the Bernie Sanders thing kicked it off. But like the gasoline on the fire was Pizzagate and what Pizzagate represented. And I remember having a moment because I had somebody in recovery that I was talking to a lot. We were talking all the time. And we kind of stopped after this, but then we started talking again once he realized. But I remember when I put together that the Pizzagate shit was real. And the moment I put it together was when that guy walked into that pizza parlor and shot. What did he shoot? He shoots the computer, right? He just destroys the hard drive on the computer.
Because he's got a great shot.
So then you study that kid, and everyone started going, hey, look at this kid. Look at his dad. What does his dad do? His dad runs Habitat for Haitian orphans, right? And then you look who funds that was the Clinton Global Initiative. So he worked for the Clintons. And you realize they go in there and they just fucking shoot this fucking thing. And then all of a sudden now we hear the things that we know are warnings. Oh, all the traffic cams were off. All the traffic cams in the area were turned off.
Right.
When you realize his lawyer, James Afontis, his lawyer owned a pizza shop down the street, and that pizza shop's literal logo was one of the Best of Pizza. Their logo was one of the symbols that the FBI says is a pedo symbol. And that person that was his lawyer, he was in charge of the department like child trafficking, of like battling it. And you're like, oh, this is so crazy. And then you get all these people in the FBI that are liking James Alefontis' creepy ass Instagrams. You start going, oh, it's totally real. And you realize that it's all about blackmail power to control these motherfuckers.
So, okay, do you think? Okay, we all know that Jeffrey Epstein's house and all his stuff got taken. Do you think they're still using that same blackmail on the same people now that they have it?
Yeah, they're always going to use it.
So is that why they won't release it? So they can now use it, be like, oh shit, look what we got. Now we can control so and so because we got the video of Bill Clinton doing whatever.
100%.
Because they literally stole it from Jeffrey Epstein.
100%. 100%. Damn. I completely and utterly believe that's why they don't use any of that shit. It's because they 100% are still blackmailing these people. And that's why, like, you know, it's like, you look at what's the new speaker, John Mitchell or whatever his name is. You know, he's like, first thing he talks about is Israel, and you're like, okay, dude, you're the third guy, you're the two people away from the presidency, and the first comment you make as speaker,
Mike Jones.
Mike Jones, okay,
Johnson.
Mike Johnson, okay, he is talking about Israel. It's like, okay, dude, okay. It's just like, everything is bought. It's such a deep.
I mean, that guy set the record for the quickest, you know, just like stepping right in that line. I mean, as soon as they like the gavel hit that he won, he's like, Israel!
I mean,
it's not.
I just met a girl named Israel. And suddenly it seems
it's like that
nothing
Hicks
will
joke,
be the
you know?
same again.
So funny. So funny.
They're not even trying to hide it anymore. They're out in the open. And actually, I've seen a lot of compelling whistleblowers and people in the know that they've said a lot of the people that they put in power are picked because they're pedophiles.
100%.
And then they feed them the kids. Okay, because if you're just bribed with money, you can still get a conscience. You can grow a conscience and go against them. But if they got you on film with the little boys in the bed, you're host, you'll be out. And so they have a stranglehold on the power structure that way, for sure.
In a weird way, do you think that's why they keep the YouTube shit on sometimes so they can see who's in the comments?
I mean, yeah, but Pornhub is really it, dude.
Yeah.
Pornhub is a giant data factory to figure out who they can compromise, who has aspirations for public office, and can they manipulate that shit?
They'll let you in the game.
Yeah, I mean, that's why, like, Pornhub, it's like that, you know, they've been busting more and more, letting like underage shit on there. Like, when you go on Pornhub, you assume that everybody on there is 18 years old.
Yeah.
But they let some of that through so they could see who comments on that, who's saying stuff, and then they follow that through their electronic analysis and spying, and they find out.
They see that you're smart. They see that you go to college. Or like, yo, let him. He's into politics.
Yes.
Let him go.
Everything is data mining.
Yep.
Everything. They are data mining you to find out if you have the characteristics they know that are easily manipulated so that they can use you.
For anything. School
it's
shootings,
like I
anything.
said before on the show, when my cousin, who's the nicest guy in the world, was having is having some issues passing some of the psychological exams early on, it's because he's too nice.
Well, dude, I told you the story when I wanted to. I just had to get a job coming out of college, so I did insurance.
Johnny
sales for a
sold
while.
his ass.
It was miserable. But I just went into
miserable.
that and took that test, for sales, and I said, okay, I'm going to answer this like a sociopath would answer. I swear to God, dude. And the guy was so stunned at my score, like he was like, this is the best score I've ever seen. He's like, I'm sorry it took me so long to come back because I had to call my boss and be like, hey man, is this real? Like, is this guy like they couldn't have hired me faster? And I promise you, I went to that. I was like, okay, how would a pure sociopath answer these questions?
That's incredible.
And it's all just like oriented, like you care more about money than people. Is basically how I answered all the questions.
Yeah, like a
Nice.
like a sociopath. That's how they think. Everything's about the money. Like, I don't care that person's dying. I still need you to pay the check.
They loved it.
Yeah, I mean, like
They loved it.
they love all of it. I mean, and so you get into so much of what is going on. It's like Dave Smith is one of my favorite people. I'm always blessed. Every Skankfest I get to do his podcast. He is such a smart mind. He's so important. If you had one critique, and who am I to critique Dave Smith? He's so fast, he's so funny. But I just don't think he looks at the spiritual side of a lot of stuff. Everything is like data to me, and
It's a problem with a lot of people in that movement.
yeah, 100 in the political discord place, there is way too much data and not enough discussion of, is there an invisible hand involved, and what would that invisible hand be? So if we, I see on the list of things that you talk about in your book, 9/11 was fake, and I go, well, 9/11 is a great example of why God exists, okay? And I go, if we can prove that the devil or dark entities exist, we know everything is, if there's light, there's dark, right? It's just the way the universe works. For every action, there's a reaction and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Duality.
Yeah.
So if we know that all the numbers associated with 9/11 coordinate with Aleister Crowley Salima's 11s, 93s, 77s, all these shit are thelemic numbers, which infer his dark entities he work with. That infers that there's a God to me. And we keep looking at things like the Israel-Palestine thing through the lens of geopolitics. And for me, and even though I think they're false flagging some shit into trying to get Christians in America to believe that the end of days are here. I think they're trying to false flag us into that shit. And maybe the Antichrist comes and that's part of it. But, and again, I'm going to get my ass kicked for saying this, but, there's a lot of stuff going on that people don't even want to look into, because even as a conspiracy theorist, you could be called certain names that are like the kiss of death when it comes to a lot of this stuff. And for me, everything is a manifest event to manifest us to, what's it called? It's problem, reaction, solution.
Hegelian dialect.
Yep. That's it. That's every single thing they do is a magic trick.
Yep.
From a spiritual point of view.
Do you reposted this? Christians reading the Quran. Is that just a psyop?
I think that's just another psyop. And the problem with social media is that it takes like 10 people. It makes it seem like a million people are doing it when it's only 10 people. Like libs at TikTok. They'll just take this one teacher that has 30 followers in Alaska and like put her on blast. And now everyone's, can you believe teachers are doing? It's like that's one pink-haired idiot in the middle of nowhere. And I'm not saying that there isn't a movement of Marxism, but I think that has tainted how we look at all teachers. And I think a lot of teachers are really good people that are completely underpaid. and now they're viewed as these monsters when I think a lot of them are good people. That's my opinion.
I mean, they're teaching your kids. They're good people. I mean, you gotta think
they're
about
not
it.
getting paid shit.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. In general, they're good people, just knowing that what the job consists of.
That not getting paid shit thing. I mean, it's funny though, because part of that you get what you pay for, and then part of it you get people who are willing to sacrifice, a career, like a money making career. So it's an interesting mix of people who are just, couldn't find anything else, and then those people with a true sense of like duty to society. I think
it's
you know
crazy.
what I mean. And they're all hardcore labor people, so you get
How deep do you go into 9/11 wasn't real?
How deep do I go?
Yeah, like how layered do you go? That
Well, it's either not true or it is, but I mean, there's all different kinds of theories. There's no planes theory. It was built to be knocked down all the way from the beginning.
I think there were no buildings.
For me, it wasn't really hard for me to conclude that we weren't being told the truth. When I saw the plane, this was what the news showed me. Okay, I'm just going by what they showed me. So the plane hits the building, and then you see the cone come out the other side, fully intact for about 3 seconds, and then pulls back. Well, one of the documentaries I saw showed how 3 different commercial airliners had bird hits, and the nose cone was completely bashed in.
Yeah.
From birds. Okay, from birds, right? This thing supposedly went through, I don't know how many hundreds and hundreds of yards of solid steel and cement and came out the other side fully intact. I'm sorry. You could call me whatever you want, but I don't believe that happened. Period. Because that's what my eyes saw. You can believe what you're told, but I'm going to go with what I see.
So you're going with CGI? If you're going with what you saw, CGI,
you're going to have to draw your own conclusions on how they did it or what really happened. I'm just telling you what I witnessed on the news. The cone came out the other side, fully intact. I don't know if you could find that again, but I saw it, and so did a bunch of other people. So what does that tell you? That tells you that whatever the news showed us was fake.
I think that 9/11 was a multi-layer psyop to get, and each layer didn't know the other layer was involved. I think you had the fake 19 hijackers, and Saudi Arabia had to jump on the sword and be like, they funded all this, right? So they jump on the sword with the 19 hijackers that were just doing blow out of strippers' asses the whole time, like real good Islamic jihadists right there. Then on top of that, you had the dancing Israelis, which were lining up all the pillars with fucking. The pictures are right there. You could see, like, which is such a weird thing that you're going to blow up this building, and you're just taking pictures of all the fucking dynamite you're going to use, like the explosives. But see, that gets into like everything's meant to be another layer in this non-linear warfare. So, it's like if I had Ryan Dawson on here, Ryan Dawson would swear it was just these planes and it was just Israel. And then, we have then he gets real. And I love Ryan Dawson. I love him, he doesn't believe in the Dr. Judy Brown and the direct energy weapons, which would explain a lot of the dustification, and then we have the hoax thing. These are just layers upon layers upon layers.
It's entirely possible this is an event designed to, split people up. Like,
dude, I think almost everything they do is nonlinear warfare. They put out things for the sheep to digest, and then the conspiracy theorists to digest.
That passport or whatever being in the debris.
Yeah,
it's entirely possible that just got deposited there, just dropped there.
Yeah, somebody bang, and then
yeah.
But you guys are talking. You guys are talking at the level of why or what's the goal behind it. I'm just talking about like architects for 9/11 truth. They get 2,000 guys. They all signed affidavits. Okay, these guys are like, hey, dude, I build these things, all right, and I knock them down. All right, Building 7 didn't even have a plane hit it. Okay, and I got the video where it's falling at free fall speed, and there's 2,000 of these guys. They build buildings like Building 7. They knock them down. They demolish them. And these guys said that was brought down at free fall speed. That was controlled demolition. Here's my affidavit. Okay, you got to get past that. if you want to believe the official story. That's all I'm saying.
No, I'm with you on that. And it's so funny that we're even debating Building 7. I mean, you have Larry Finkelstein, you know?
Yeah. He said, pull it.
He said, we just decided to pull it. And it's just like, why are we debating this? The guy who owned it said he called for it to be pulled. Which
he totally did on camera.
Which my whole point is that right there lends credence to they fucking put explosives the whole way up. Because how can,
absolutely,
right? Like, let's say our next door to our building is a house, and I'm just like, pull it. Well, pull what? What am I pulling? Pull it down. Well, how am I supposed to pull it down? You only say pull it when you know something's in there to pull it.
So, but to play
That's
devil's advocate or someone's family member, what if I tell you, well, why does it matter who's going to go to jail now? Who are we going to arrest? George Bush? I know it should matter. I'm not saying it shouldn't, but that's what the devil's.
I've had this argument with good friends of mine. If somebody takes family member of mine, I want the person who did it, not somebody.
But then who's that person? Like, let's say we do find out 9/11 was an inside job. Who is it? Just George Bush? Who should go to jail? That's when it also goes down to like, well, that's a fucking inside job of like, what are we going to arrest?
So what are we supposed to do? Let them throw out the first pitch of World Series and cheer him on like he's a good guy? I mean, like everyone's mad at Bill Burr's wife for flipping off Trump. I have more respect for that than I do those two stadiums full of people cheering on George Bush at two different events. At the first game of the World Series and then at the Giants. You're like, you have some balls showing up anywhere in New York. Anything shows up. Yeah. And they're cheering you on.
Quickly we forget. I think it's part of it. Them getting old, Like it's like it's hard to boo an elderly man, but you got to remember this guy is Satan incarnate.
I'll boo the oldest motherfucker on the planet.
He's a devil.
I've been there. I've seen Sam boo George Bush Sr. at the airport while a pilot walked by us and said, "You don't disrespect a general like that." And Sam was just like this. I'm taking a picture of him.
You call him a general?
Oh, I don't know what he called him.
Hey man, he's a military hero. I go, bro. He helped get rid of 3 presidents. You piece of shit.
Was he in a wheelchair at the time too?
No. That was before he went in the wheelchair.
Okay.
But yeah, Sam stands his ground.
Yeah, I mean, so the whole point is like these are manifest events, dude. You get in a flat Earth. It's just like we have major debates on this show. I have zero problems with it. I had a guy come to my show. Did you say the whole show at the revival?
Yeah. I said the whole time. Yeah.
Do you see the guy that worked at Jack Parsons? Rocket?
Yeah.
Didn't even know that guy was a Satan. He's like, that's bullshit. I go, no, dude, it's 100% fact. Jack Parsons was a satanic occultist. No way, bro.
Oh, big time.
They worked there. Don't even know.
And it's so funny because, we're having these conversations about Satan and all this shit. I believe all that satanic panic was just there to set up because they knew this all was coming. So when they decided to make their play and present what they really believe, they wanted people to be, look at the Dow. Dude, satanic panic, bro. You remember that school where they said that those people did all that stuff to those kids and that was a giant fake thing? No, it wasn't. And I'm looking right here. This is from Liz Crocken. And jump in anytime you want. The Martin preschool case was not a legendary hoax. It was a legendary cover-up. In 2019, the FBI declassified documents on the Finders. The Finders was a CIA front tasked at kidnapping and torturing programming across the United States. The children were used. They found tunnels under the school.
Yeah.
So then do you think, because you've seen the case where the kids say there was like clowns and stuff, do you think they add that to make it sound crazy? So
yes.
The kids sound crazy?
Yes.
As in like they just put a clown there so they can be like, oh, there was clowns and there was people on trees, but there actually is stuff going down, but it just so sounds crazy.
Do you guys remember when in New Mexico they found that weird like fort and they found some guy and the guy was like basically said, we're training high school shooters? Do you remember that story?
Oh, yeah.
And then the judge dismissed the case like 2 weeks later and nobody said anything.
Wow. That's heavy.
That's some heavy ass shit.
Oh, here we go. Okay. Yeah, I mean, this is on CNN. New Mexico compound suspects were training children for school shootings, prosecutors say.
Imagine.
The 5 suspects accused of abusing 11 children at a New Mexico compound were training them to commit school shootings, prosecutors said Wednesday. If the defendants were to be, quote, released from custody, there is a substantial likelihood defendant may commit new crimes due to his planning and preparation for future school shootings, the document said. And then, like you said, yeah.
See?
What came of this? Nothing.
Yeah. See, but you tell someone that, hey, there's a school for school shootings and the government's in on it. No, you're crazy. There's no way. School shootings just happen and there's just, you got to take the guns away. This is, but yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny. There are no stories about this past that original story where those documents were introduced. Nothing else after.
Right? Yeah. And the herd keeps moving.
Yep.
It takes a lot of energy to fight the narrative. It's exhausting, because they're relentless and they have the power of the media. And it's just, but there's always 5 levels of truth when you're seeing something on the data sphere. Like, for instance, we were talking about how you saw that one of the things that woke you up was you saw the politicians all buddy at this event, even though they're supposed to hate each other. Well, I saw Biden doing a press conference, right? He's getting on Marine One, that's the helicopter. And the microphones, like my microphone here, there was a bunch of microphones across the bottom of the screen, and his hand went right through the microphone.
Yeah. So I go,
okay, so they're fake. The whole thing was fake, like you wouldn't believe fake. And you're sitting there with your nerve endings hanging out going, where am I? I'm in some sort of menagerie where they could just fake stuff like this to push the narrative. And so you also talked about how there's, technology can erode your soul to where you're this soulless techno bot, and there's a spiritual aspect to us. We're not just an organic machine. There's a soul inside you, which is like your mind, will, and your emotions, and there's a spirit. And so there's a spirit world, potentially there's an afterlife. And you saw pictures of it, like with Job. Satan came before God and he started arguing with God about Job and saying, he only serves you because you give him toys and stuff. So God's like, all right, I'm going to use him to teach people about suffering. Go ahead and mess with him. So he says, everything that he has is in your hands. So that's what's happening behind the scenes in the spirit world. God and the devil and the angels are having this battle. And then the man is like a pawn. I mean, he's like in part of it, but it's all happening because of what happened up there. That's what's happening down here. And I think if you're not sensitive to that you're really only operating on a low level of your truther journey. There's more to what you're seeing than what's on the news. You got geopolitical truth. Then from there, it goes up to like, who's really in control? Is it the government? No, they're really controlled by the special interest groups who are controlled by the banking system, the IMF, or the corporations first, then the IMF, then the central banks. Then it's the BIS, the Bank of International Settlements. Then above them is like the Bilderberg Group. They are really controlled and owned by the United Nations. Then there's these groups like the Chatham House, Royal Institute of International Affairs. These kind of, like we have no idea who they are, what they do, but they're extremely powerful. Then you got the Freemason lodges, the secret societies. Then above that is things like the Trilateral Commission, Council on Foreign Relations. Then you go to then you have the city states, the Vatican, Washington, and the City of London. So Vatican is the religious city state. Washington is the military city state, and the City of London is the financial city state. Then you got the Committee of 300, and then there's the Crown Council. There is a Crown Council of 13. It exists, okay? The 13 families have a Crown Council. Well, what do? They have these meetings with, in these cement basement bunkers where Satan comes and gives them their directives, or they go down to the South Pole and they get their directives down there from the fallen angels.
Yeah, I'm with
and then
you,
there's
bro.
the pin yard, right?
Are you getting into Pindar?
That's the world you live in. Sorry.
Are you in the Pindar, dog? I'm all about that, bro. I'm all about that, man. I think the black nobility are really high up. I know they're above any. I think they're old banking families from Rome that go all the way back to Babylon, and they've been in
they're
power.
pedivores.
And
they're pedivores.
100%, because children are the closest to God, and they've made deals with these dark entities, whether it's Baal, Moloch, all these dark entities. It is a battle between fallen angels and God. And, it's so funny. You bring up dinosaurs earlier. You're like, my friends, they don't believe it. They think dinosaurs are real. And I'm like, bro, I think dinosaurs are Nephilim, dude. And I think they just they had to come up with something to cover up for what those are, because if Nephilim's true, then the Bible and all that study is true, and that's what I 100% believe. And
well, why do you think they always ferret those giants away? They find the bones of giants, and then the Smithsonian comes. Well, the Men in Black come, and they say this is cordoned off now. This is government. And they take the bones and they hide it. They're trying to cover up the biblical narrative. I mean, they found Noah's Ark. It was over there on Mount Ararat, or one of those mountains. It's over there. They don't want to let that out.
Yeah, I mean, it used to be common knowledge, too. Abraham Lincoln, during a speech, is like, the eyes of that species of extinct giants whose bones fill the mounds of America have gazed on Niagara as ours do now. I mean, there was a time when this was very much common knowledge, that it's so much so that the president would just say it in a speech,
Yep.
I didn't know that, Johnny.
Yeah, it's interesting, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Lincoln's speech about the giants in Niagara it's right there in history books. And you could go back and find all kinds of newspaper articles talking about giants. It's very well documented in the geological studies. There's tons of pictures of them, but it's still just kookdom. It's fringe talk. And, if you try to bring these topics up, like I'm coming from a biblical worldview. So I was in the ministry, right, doing church. You go around church people, they don't want to hear it either. They're the most normie. Yeah. Pastors are the most normie people of anybody, because they got too much to lose.
Yeah, I had a friend. I had a conversation. Keep your question. Hold it. I had a friend of mine that is newly sobriety, and I didn't want to bring the God stuff up. So I brought up the universe, and he's like, "No, I'm good with God now. I'm good with God." I'm like, "Okay, cool. That's cool, dude," because that's a big thing. And when you start to see this shit, to see it. You'll realize that when you go, what else are they lying to me about? You start JFK, you go, what else are they lying to me about? God. And he goes, I'm spiritual, I'm not religious. I go, I'm the same exact way, dude. I have no desire to follow into anytime there's a power structure, there is a place to corrupt. And I go to him, everything you've ever learned about God was told to you by people who don't want you to believe in God. And that's my honest trip. So do you believe that they kept certain passages or books out of the Bible?
Yeah, this is just shenanigans going on with the Bible. That's for sure. That's for sure.
Like I'm a big Bible guy now.
What's that?
I really do believe in the Bible, but I also know that, I've had people I had a guy come up to my show in Dallas. And he was like, dude, look at this. I have this. This is a Bible from the 1600s. He goes, this passage, you cannot find in new Bibles anymore. And it was about how.
Well, let me clarify what I just stated, because I'm a Bible believer. And I believe that the Bible was given by God to man to know him. And then, we have this received text like the King James Version was probably the most accurate, and it's accurate to the original manuscripts, the original autographs. However, my whole YouTube channel is based on looking at the Mandela effect and the fact that the Bible's changing. So there's a end time sign and wonder that's taking place that's affecting everything in our reality, including the Bible. So that's what I talk about for 7 years. So that's why I answered the way I did.
What's the quote, Johnny, that you say about the lamb? I don't really know it.
No, that one there's a one about, most people remember it as the lion
laying down with the lamb, but it's with the wolf in reality. And I mean, I have a childhood Bible, but the Bible that I was given, when I was born, if you can call that a gift, has on the front a lamb and a lion
I've talked
together
to
on it. Yeah.
personally 30 pastors or so in the last 7 years, like across the table from them. And I asked them, "Hey, pastor, who laid down with the lamb?" And they not only answered lion, they said it like it was self-evident. "Oh, the lion." Like, of course. And then they'd go to it, Isaiah 11:6, and they'd start reading. And the wolf, and they'd stumble over it. And a couple of times I witnessed what we call the download. And the download is like you're in a sci-fi movie. So this one guy, he reads wolf, and then he stops, and then he looks up at me. I'm not kidding. And his head tilts to the side and kind of shook a little, and his eyes got really glazed. And then he goes, "Oh, yeah, now that I think of it, I do remember wolf."
Do you think that's a glitch? Or do you think that's a glitch that they got?
Was that like an Agent Smith moment? You remember that in the Matrix?
Yes, Agent Smith, man, exactly.
I remember the wolf.
Well, I mean, you come mentally and spiritually to an impasse, right? And you have to decide, like, either my entire worldview is going to shatter, or I'm just going to assume that I misremembered it.
Yeah,
that's what
valid decision.
Yeah.
Now misremembers a word. You remember that wasn't a word until Roger Clemens decided to use that word in front of a guy. Yeah. He misremembers. You're like, okay. But it's interesting, man, because I have a buddy of mine. He got very spiritual in college, and used to be all the time I would come meet with him. He'd always want to talk about Jesus and the Bible to me, and I would always let him go because I didn't want to be disrespectful, but I wasn't ready for it. And then lately I have been ready for it, and so we've been having a lot of conversations about it, and he has some very interesting views about it, man. And I just think that if there's any place you could corrupt, they will corrupt at every choke out point, at every
So you bring up they're corrupting it, and he's in the Mandela effect. Do you think the government is corrupting the Mandela effect, or the elite, or do you think it literally is a different timeline? You know how they mention timelines.
That's a great question. And I go, if I see that they're pushing cultural Marxism on us at every point, and a big part of what cultural Marxism is it wants you not to believe your eyes, your ears, or the wisdom of your experiences. There's part of me that goes, they have something so advanced they can just completely flip the internet. Like they have a way to replace everything we know, and it's like almost with Tataria, where they got rid of a lot of stuff in the big cities, but you go to these tiny cities and there's some shit that doesn't make sense there. You're like, why? Yep. How's that architecture fit in this town of 10,000 people?
Yes.
So I think they don't get everything. They get a lot of stuff. I think that is possible.
So you think it's the elite? You don't think it's how they say the?
It could easily be we're on other timelines too. Anything is possible. I just know somebody's fucking with something.
Yep. Well, what we're experiencing, it could be a timeline thing, it could be a consciousness thing, or your ability to decode the construct has been altered, so it's just like tweak the frequency. So what you're seeing is like at a different level of consciousness, or it could be shifting to a different universe. There's a lot of different theories, but one thing that we do know as human beings that are in possession of our faculties is it is not misremembering. Let me give an example. Let's say you wake up tomorrow, right? And, right now your name is Sam. You've known your name is Sam, but you wake up tomorrow and it's Tom. Okay. All of your bank statements say Tom. Your driver's license, credit cards, birth certificate, even your yearbook says Tom. And you go get checked out. You don't have a brain tumor or mental illness or anything. Nobody's playing a scam on you. Would you agree that experience is a supernatural, unexplainable experience? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. All right, now why is that? I'm going to tell you why. It's just for the sake of time. The reason you said yes is because you believe that the human memory is so reliable when it comes to vivid memories that you're going to go against all logic and say, I don't care what the data sphere is telling me. I know what my name is, bro. Okay? I know my name. right? And something's going on, but my name was never Tom. Okay, period. So the human memory is reliable. The number one argument against the Mandela effect is you're just confused. You're just confusing the Platter's peanut guy with the Monopoly guy. No, I beg to differ. That's your philosophy. That's your hypothesis, but it's incorrect. My testimony is my testimony, and you can't have it. It's sacrosanct. If your name changes, nobody's going to... What if I came to you when that happened, and I tried to start trying to tell you, Sam, you're just misremembering, right? What would you tell me? Buzz off.
I'm completely and utterly with you on that.
And it's weird. I mean, I might be wrong. Have you ever heard of like the Mandela effect? Because the first time I heard of it was the stupid bursting, and it blew everyone's mind. I was like, oh, so crazy.
The craziest one is Britney Spears' skirt.
Yeah.
That's the craziest one to me.
Yup.
Where you ask everybody, is it plaid? Is it black? Everyone says plaid. A couple people say black. But Britney Spears herself dressed up as that character for Halloween in a plaid outfit.
Thank you. But there's thousands of those.
But here, real quick, you know what's
thousands.
What's really interesting? What's really interesting is that in Islam, the reason they memorize the Quran is because they say jinns can't corrupt what's in your mind. They can corrupt everything around you. They can manipulate everything around you.
Fascinating one.
But they can't corrupt your mind. So that's why people memorize the Quran.
So, yeah.
Do you remember that movie?
Why are we so skeptical? I mean, there's a two-slit experiment. It's a peer-reviewed study where they were testing or examining how particles at the quantum level function. So they're shooting these particles through a screen that had two slits and a photoelectric cell in the back, and you would think that the photoelectric cell would show you two slits of energy hitting the cell, and it did, until they flipped on a camera in front of the slits. And as soon as there was human consciousness involved in the experiment, suddenly these particles began to act as waves. So like if you drop two pebbles into a pool, it would create a cancellation pattern, and you have like 7 different lines on the photoelectric cell, which is what they saw. And they were like, what? So they turned the camera off, and the wave pattern went back to 2 slits. They turned it on, back to 7. The only variable was human consciousness was then involved in the experiment. That's it. So what that proved is that the construct that you live and move in is somehow directly tied to what you're perceiving is tied to your consciousness. Okay, so based on that scientifically proven fact, the Mandela effect is absolutely possible, because there's a biblical example where in the Old Testament, the Pharaoh's magicians threw down their staff and it became a snake. So we have a biblical example of them being able to change wood into a complex organism. And there's many examples of them doing alchemy throughout history in the writings. And if you study Satanism, they got powers. And so this event was actually foretold in a number of different passages in the Bible that this would happen. Daniel 7:25 says, in the last days, or the Antichrist will seek to change times and laws. He'll seek to change space-time in the Bible. And then Enoch in chapter 80, he said, in these days, all things on the earth will alter, and they will be out of their time. So this is, there's other passages too that foretold the event. And then you got millions of people claiming this is happening. It's not a few crazy people in the basement.
There is there's an Aleister Crowley comment that when you see, basically he's saying, when you see trans women and people starting to talk about climate change, all right, that'll be the sign of the Horus, the god of Horus, will be coming back. He talked about that. And,
I know. I remember hearing that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And, and then there's also things about the Dark Mother. There's all this crazy. We had this Freemason on, and, I know some people who are Freemasons, and everyone can say whatever they want. I think groups are fine, but I also think that, that at the highest levels of everything, there is corruption because people want to control stuff. That's my honest opinion, but I think it's interesting, dude. I think it's everything is a intelligence trick, is a rich man's trick. They are running magic on us at all corners at all times, and that's my honest belief. And you have see, every 2 years a new psyop comes, right? A new global psyop that changes how they're trying to change how humanity operates. Every 2 years, every 20 years, there's a global event, but every 2 years, there's like a new thing going on.
COVID was like 22 years after 9/11.
Yeah, it was like 20 years after 9/11, right?
Yeah.
Or right around that.
Right around there, yeah.
So every 20 years, it's like kind of at the world famous Comedy Store. Every 20 years, the comedy flips and it's a new generation. But every time these things happen, I always go, okay, this reminds me of what they did before. This has all the earmarks of this play out of their playbook. And you go, I'm reading this energy of this thing. It's reading like this. This is why things going on. And you get scared to put it out. Because if you're wrong, you feel every loss. Every time you're wrong, you get dinged really hard and it becomes a credibility thing. They don't care how many times you're right. It's how many times you're wrong. No matter how many times they're wrong.
Don't matter.
It doesn't matter. Every time a conspiracy theorist is wrong, it's a new parade celebration, right? They celebrate it. So,
yeah. And not only that, they'll find you like they find Alex Jones now.
Right? I mean, they're trying. I mean, but the whole point is this is like, even if we get into what's going on in Gaza and stuff like that, we've talked this into the ground, but it's just like, from the minute I go, this doesn't make any sense. This Iron Dome, the IDF, they could be anywhere in Israel in 30 minutes. They don't show up for 5 hours. Doesn't make any sense. And then it starts to roll out. And then you got Elon Musk over there going, oh my God, the tragedy. And you're like, dude, like Netanyahu lives in a bubble. He has no clue of what the outside perception of it is. That is pageantry of stupid right there. That is like giving a trans woman a fucking gold medal for beating women. And so everyone knows what's going on here. Nobody thinks it's a victory. You're not doing a victory lap. You just cucked this guy in front of everybody. That was a giant cuck manifest. They're like, look, this is the richest guy in the world, and watch him have to go through our bullshit.
No doubt.
It's kind of crazy, man. And it's just like, I don't know, dude. I live in interesting times. I think
how obvious was it? They tried to start a war under Trump and they stopped it. So then they ended up starting the Ukraine war and that didn't work. It fizzled out. So they had to start another war over in Israel. So these wars are all banker wars. And it's like we watch something show up on the world scene and a lot of people think, oh, that's just a skirmish that crops up, between two countries and two borders. No. It was something planned like 10 years ago in Davos or in Bilderberg or something. It was war gamed and mapped out, and now it was just time to implement it. So we're living under these psychos who are moving towards this one world government, which is uncloaking in front of us. And we feel powerless, but we're not. We're not powerless. I want to touch on something you brought up, Sam, where you were talking about the 4 things you care about, or the 5 things, and you mentioned everything you do is for love. And this is a really key driver for people like us, is that you talked about it. Truthers have compassion. And I just wanted to encourage your listeners because you are doing the right thing, truther. You care about people. Now, they don't want your help, but you've kind of stumbled into something that's got a nobility that you sense. And I wanted to encourage you and congratulate you. You're doing a great job. You're right and they're wrong. Don't forget that. You're a truther. They don't know. and they don't want to know, which, by the way, is the definition of delusion. Delusion is I believe what's wrong and I'm resistant to facts. They're deluded, not you. So all the name calling is baloney. Okay, just let it roll off your back, because you have gotten in touch with destiny. You found out something, and it's very big. It's like bigger than you, right? And you also sense that you were given grace to see, because everybody always says, how come they can't see, or why can I see? Well, you can see because you were shown. There's some aspect of this which is metaphysical. It's like a spiritual awakening. There's a great awakening happening. And so you've gotten in touch with that aspect of your journey, and it's really right, okay? I'm validating your experience. What you woke up to is the truth, and there's a big price tag associated with it, but it's worth it, okay? Because once you see, you can't unsee. There's no going back, all right? So just be encouraged. Just keep learning, keep going forward, and keep opening your mouth and trying to share the truth with people, and you get better at it, and eventually you make a difference. And that's what you're here for. You're here to not take up space and eat chickens, okay? You're here to make a difference, all right? So do it.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. That's what I think. I mean, I'd rather go out with the understanding that I tried. People are good. There's dark forces within every group, and it's not the group.
Right. And if you apply that to religion, a lot of people get put off by how God runs his universe. And then there's the corruption that comes into the system. But, there's hypocrites at the supermarket, but you still go shopping because you need the food.
Yep. 100%.
You got to wade through. Because if you think about it, like, you could look at there's a church in every corner in America. Every country has religion all over the place. You could go to the most remote jungle, and you'll find some tribe that's never even seen a white man, and they'll have a totem pole. So it's in you to worship a God. It's all of creation testifies that he exists. So it's not just nonsense, but a lot of people are ticked off at God because, all different kinds of reasons. Maybe their mom died when they were 5 or 7 of cancer, and they prayed for him to be healed, and God didn't heal him. So they decided they were going to be ticked off at God. But, there's all kinds of questions that people have. But when you meet God, like I met Jesus in 83 in a church, came into my life, and the next day, my whole life changed. I mean, overnight. It was not like I reformed myself. And I've walked with him ever since, 40 years. So a man with an experience is not at the mercy of a man with an argument. That's for sure.
Yep.
It's real.
There's
got to be something to it. I mean, there's all these billions of people running after some kind of God. There's got to be something to it. I'm talking to the stone cold atheist, the guy that's like, I believe in what I can see. Well, look around at the empirical evidence of all the people testifying that they get some benefit out of their religion. There's something to it. You should try it. If it's not working for you, you might want to try it. Right?
Yep. I mean, listen. People go, well, why would God allow this happen? Why would God let that happen? And well, if you're going to go with the hypothesis that you believe that God exists, well, then you got to understand that God put Lucifer in charge down here. That was part of the whole deal, and that will come to an end. So these bad things that happen isn't God. It's like there's not every single, but so many philosophies, spiritualities, and religion talk about a God trapping entities in this realm down here, whether it's Vedic astrology, Hinduism, or Christianity. And we can keep going down. The God trapped fallen angels down here, whether it was 33% of them, or whether it was 2 of them, or 4 of them, they were trapped down here. And those are the ones that run the realm. And that's the game that is played. For what reason? It's above my pay grade. So that's all I gotta say.
I finally came to the conclusion that the answer to all my questions is there is no answer this side of eternity. The God God has created it so the intellectual man cannot scale the wall to him. Jesus said you have to come as a little child. Unless you're like a little child, you can't see. So it's not a head thing. A lot of people are real cerebral. They're all above the shoulders. This is a heart thing where, one day, you look in the mirror and you're addicted to whatever and you're depressed and you're just at the end of yourself. And you're like, my life is a train wreck and it ain't working. And so finally, you humble yourself. Your life humbles you. And you begin to say, God, let me try God. So you basically open your heart to this idea that there is a God. And you might just say his name, Jesus. I mean, I've heard this 100 times. People just said his name. All right, Jesus, if you're real, And bam, that night, they say, I slept through the night. I haven't slept soundly in 20 years, they'll say. And I got my first. So things start to happen that didn't happen for chance, okay? Because it's right on the tail end of your little encounter with him. And then all of a sudden, just things start to, you wake up and you sense God. And it's like, all of a sudden your mind is open to his existence. And so you just become a believer. And then, you start reading the Bible and you find out all kinds, it's not easy, but we're not a byproduct of a biological event where mommy and daddy got together. I mean, come on, the birth of a human being is a miracle. How that happens. And the Bible says God knit you together while you're in the womb. So you have a creator. This guy created you. And then, so he has a desire to be in your life and have a relationship. You were created for him. So if you're on your own, self-directed, there's going to be a misery that's always hanging over you. There's a thinness. There's a longing on the inside that can't be filled by a chemical or a sexual encounter or power or money. It's always fleeting. And that's what people find in God. They find the thing that they were looking for. That's what I found. Peace.
Yep.
Yeah.
Peace I mean,
sweet,
like,
really
I don't
sweet.
know, man. I've said this before and I'll say it again. We'll wrap it up here. It's just the closer I get to God, the higher vibrational behavior I take, the more I start to feel like my anxiety goes down, my depression goes down, things start working out. The farther I get from God, the more my anxiety goes up, my depression goes up, my anger goes up, and because the universe is telling me I am on the wrong path. And that's all I got to say. And I love everybody, no matter what you heard here today. I love everybody and everything I've ever said. Everything I say is to wake people up that there's a small group of people that are using controlled opposition to do all the damage. Everything is a proxy war. And as sooner you realize that, you'll stop fighting with groups. You'll stop fighting with the other religions and other countries and all that stuff. And you realize that it's not a racial thing or a religious thing. It's an economic thing. It's us versus this small predator class that's manipulating everything. And they have no power unless we give it to them. And that's it. So we'll wake up and see. I know who my enemy is. It's not my brothers and my sisters. It's a small group of fucking lizard people that get all these groups to fight with us. They're all controlled opposition, and they're all positioned to be a firewall from you looking at who's really in power. And if you know their name, they're probably fucking aren't running shit. And if they're low-hanging fruit, they're probably not running shit. Wake up. Wake up, America. Wake up. All right? One more time, John. Please tell them where they can find you.
Yes, please. My website's wakeuporelse.com. And you can get the book there. It's on audio and paperback. And my YouTube channel is Wake Up or Else, all one word. We do a biblical analysis of the Mandela effect. But the other thing I wanted to mention is they're going to try to roll out a more medical tyranny. So if you go to my website, wakeuporelse.com, click on the state national tab and scroll down. There's a whole section there with about 8 or 9 links that'll give you like flyers, training, all kinds of material so that you can stand up to the next mask mandate rollout, because they're going to try to muzzle you again with the face diaper. And we need to say no. We need to stop complying. And that section there, yeah, click on resources. Or no, go back to the entry point. Go to state national. State national's right below resource. Yeah, right there. And then scroll down. Got to scroll down quite a ways. And there's a section there. Keep going. Keep going. All right. Go back up a little bit slower. All right, right there. That's it. Right now, you passed it. Go back down a little bit.
Right there.
Yep, keep going a little bit. All right, so we're right there. So it says masks don't work, flyer, I don't consent, notice of discrimination. This is the whole section. Yeah, so you could get yourself battle ready. I've gone into, when they did it the first time, I had 2 or 3 encounters where the cops came out and I was ready to go. This is a flyer that gives you some talking points for all the Karens that are going to try to jump in your grill. I mean, the population is totally mind controlled. But if you have the old clipboard, I'll show you how to do citizens arrest. I'll show you how to go in and instruct, educate the company owners and just say, no, I don't comply. I refuse. Well, no mask, no service. Well, that's a violation of my civil rights, and you're not allowed to do that. So then you go to town and have some fun and stand up to the tyranny. Because if we don't stop with the masks, they're going to start with the shot.
They're coming back. They're already setting it up. Manufacturing consent. Consent. Listen to it. They're slow rolling it out. China, and then they're going to try to slow roll it out here. And again, if you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. There's a Greek term for that, and it's called retarded, okay? You can do that if you want to. You can be a retard. Nobody's going to care. That's it. I'm not playing your stupid fucking game again with this, so it's done. All right, John, you came, you saw, you dropped the hammer of the gods. All the links are all of John's stuff, his book, his website, all below in the links. Thank you, guys. Also, guys, we're coming to the end of Chaos Twins. We might extend it a little farther. We want to get to 30,000. That will ensure a animation. That's what we're trying to do.
You're almost there. Come on, people, pull up.
Yeah, we're basically at 23,500. We're almost there. If you guys can help out, just drop $1. If everyone here that listens to the show dropped $1, we would be able to make multiple animations, which is somewhat our goal, to slow roll it out. So we'll see how it goes.
And probably do you still have the baller edition tier?
We have everything. I'm thinking about making my pen name Rex Augman.
You got 5 claims on the Do a Podcast with Sam?
Yeah.
Is that a nod to Stacey Augman? Is that the plastic man?
Yeah. One is Stacey Augman, and the other one's my next door neighbor. Okay. Rex, I grew up with. His name's Rex Fredenberg. So it's going to be Rex
Stacey Augman put me in a headlock at a Falcons game one time.
Well, you deserved it.
Probably,
you definitely deserved it. So, guys, stay tuned for all of the affiliates we have, some highlights from my other podcasts. Again, I got El Monte on the 16th. I'm putting together a murder final comedy chaos of the year 12/12. Come hang out with us. We're going to have a great time. And then I'm in Batavia, at the Comedy Vault at the end of January. So come get weird with Daddy. Daddy wants a hang. Daddy wants a bang. Let's go. Go to SamTripoli.com. All my affiliates, all my audio, all my video, chaostwins.com links, and enjoy the affiliates, description of our affiliates, which I use all of them, and enjoy the highlights.
Here's a clip from the latest Broken Sim.
So then we end the show. I can't stop laughing at the situation.
Yeah.
We go outside. Now Shmuley, what is his name?
Shmuley Gibberstein, yeah. How do you not know your accountant's name? I mean, my God.
Dude, it's Don Barris's accountant's name.
Yeah, sorry.
Shmuley Gibberstein is in Eddie's face right now.
Oh, no.
And Shmuley is telling him that he's CIA, okay? and that the CIA
Wait,
isn't happy.
Shmuley is saying that Shmuley is CIA, or Shmuley saying that Eddie is CIA?
Well, first he said he used to be in the CIA. Then he starts saying he's in the CIA. And he's saying that flat Earth is real, but he's mad that the CIA is mad that Eddie's talking about about flat Earth. Okay? And Eddie's like, I'm just trying to do dick jokes. He's like, they're upset with you. And I walk up to him and I go, they're watching Eddie. He's like, yeah, are they watching me? And he goes, no. I go, they're not watching me? What the fuck?
That's so funny.
Nobody's watching me. That's some bullshit.
Like, we could use the ratings. We need people to be watching us.
Yeah, we need people. They're always like, blah, blah, blah is watching. I'm like, good. Numbers are up, bro.
Yes.
Numbers are up.
Please give them the YouTube link too.
Give them the YouTube link. Tell them to watch us, dude. Seriously. So then he grabs me, dude, and he pulls me to the side.
Shmuley grabbed you?
Shmuley, what is his name?
Gibberstein, of course.
Gibberstein grabs my fucking new, like, maroon 10th Planet Austin sweatshirt that's gorgeous.
Oh, hell no.
Grabs it, pulls it to the side. And I'm like, should I use my Krav Maga on Shmuleystein right now? Gibberstein.
I should have made this name easier.
If I do this right now, all hell is going to break out. So I have to diffuse it. So whenever I get very nervous, I do what? I start laughing.
Yeah.
And I'm laughing. Little Johnny Betancourt is pissed. And he's revved up. He's a chihuahua ready to thump this Shmulestein.
Yeah, I think you've said that before, that he has a temper.
So Shmulestein is like, dude, I'm in the CIA. They're watching. I go, how do you know he's CIA? So he shows me this weird kind of ID. I grab it and I'm like, oh no. I touched it. They got my fingerprints. I go, hold on. Show me that Shmulestein, show me that CIA identification again. He shows it again. I grab it and I wipe all my fingertips on.
Did it look legitimate? Did it look real?
Off it. He's like, damn me, why'd you do that? I go, because now you don't have my fingerprints, right?
Did it look real?
We're watching. I go, Shmulestein. What?
Did the ID look real?
Well, it was a green ID, but he had his thumb over what it was.
Oh, yeah.
So who knows if it's real? Nobody cares.
I care.
But it was dude, it was chaos. It was so fucking
Sounds insane,
funny.
Yeah. Was Johnny filming all this?
I don't know if he filmed the last stuff. I think we'd packed up.
Oh, no.
But it was so funny. I'm like, nobody's watching me. Nobody cares about me. Everybody cares about them. Okay? I'm getting yelled at that I'm yelling right now.
What do you mean?
Okay, all right.
So Billie Eilish was in Variety complaining. Here's the quote. Nobody ever says a thing about men's bodies. If you're muscular, cool. If you're not, cool. If you're rail thin, cool. If you have a dad bod, cool. If you're pudgy, love it. Everybody's happy with it. You know why? Because girls are nice. They don't give a about us because we see people for who they are.
This is like,
what is she talking about?
She is so delusional. Studies have shown that women now, 100% of women find 80% of men not just not attractive, ugly. Okay,
dude, Leonardo DiCaprio goes without a shirt
Johnny,
on the beach.
go to the community notes. Go to community notes. She gets murked by the community notes.
Let me see. Okay. But think about Leo DiCaprio. Anytime that dude goes when he's out of shape without a shirt on the beach, or like Tom Brady, it's all on the front of the tabloids.
When a guy is somewhat unattractive, it becomes a meme. How about that no neck guy from
No Neck Ed? Yeah, 90 Day Fiance. Yeah. So you're right about him. He's so crazy. This is the community note. It says it is estimated that roughly 10 million men in the United States alone experience body dysmorphia for the same reasons women do. Yeah.
This is called I live the most privileged life.
Yeah.
I'm at the peak of my physical powers. I'm hot. I got the biggest cans in the world. And I just want to find some kind of grift oppression that I can bring up, because I have been famous since I was a young girl, and we need to have windmills to fight. We have to have a purpose in our life. And her purpose is to act like she's oppressed because she has the fattest cans on planet Earth. Big titted hot chick with a ton of cash feels oppressed. That's what that should be called, that title.
All right.
God
so here's
bless.
the last thing. You sent me this, and it's more proof that, the black cube of Saturn is a real thing. Here we go. We've got Taylor Swift at a concert on a giant black cube.
What's she on, Johnny? What's she on?
A giant black cube, man. In the center.
A giant black cube.
It looks like Mecca.
Look at that, dude.
It looks like Mecca.
She's not even hiding it, bro.
I don't get
Black
it.
cube Saturn worship right there. And now she's all possessed, dirty dancing. Still
Dude.
has the sexual energy of a 4x4.
You wouldn't catch me. She has no. You're so right, dude. No
There's
kind of vibe.
nothing there.
Nothing.
I'm like, wow, that is a great. Wow, I just want to get in there. Nope.
Nada. Why is that?
Nope.
You think? What is it? I feel the same way about Beyonce. Honestly, I just don't get it with her.
Because I
she's
think
like a
she's
machine.
probably a lesbian. Allegedly.
Maybe that's it.
I think Taylor Swift is a lesbian.
I mean,
That's
that thing
my
with
opinion.
Kelsey is so clearly scripted. It's so fake,
Yeah,
dude.
they're like, dude, you want to make a ton of money? Act like you want to hit this. Hey, guys, real quick, I want to tell you about a couple things you can find on the website, SamTripoli.com. It's everything you need. Audio, video, all there of all my podcasts across the board. You can also get my dates there. You can also get T-shirts there. We are adding T-shirts all the time. We just added a more de-essing, less bombing. I love that one, okay? We also got Yahweh or the Highway new shirts are there. They should be up. It's a great way to support the show. Grab your T-shirts now. I got more magic coming. I also have a mental gymnastics one everyone's going to really like. Listen, if you want to support the show, rockfin.com, $15. You get all my shows across all the boards. We also have Cash Daddies, patreon.com/Cash Daddies. Great way to make money in these difficult markets. We also have some affiliates. I'm going to hit them out real quick. If you're looking for gold and silver, a great way to go to Wise Wolf. Click the banner. Hydrogen brown gas. Everyone loves it. Harley Ray, our good friends, and Candles and Crystals. You can use the promo code SWARM15. Click that one. And Tim James, who was just on the show, universally loved. You can get a discount on all of his stuff on his website. Chemical Free Body. And then finally, Joel Staley, who's going to help me lose weight and get ready to rock. All those there. Click the banners. Support them. Support us. It's a great way. And all my audio, all my video, again, right there at SamTripoli.com. Enjoy the highlights.
And now, a highlight from Cash Daddies.
What is your process for selling your art?
Well, to be perfectly frank, man, for the last decade, I've just been a whore on social media. I mean,
What's
just
wrong with that?
unbelievable, like ridiculous shit. Like it's come to the point though where that's not always going to be there, and it's certainly not the same as it was even 5 years ago with the fucking algorithm. So you really got to pick and choose what you put up and when you put it up, and just make sure it's quality over quantity. But the biggest thing for me is the website, because for me, like, getting a mailing list together of serious clients and having access to them no matter what happens with social media is always going to be at the top of the heap as far as any independent business is concerned. Because what if Instagram just shuts down and goes away one day? What if TikTok just never reappears? That type of shit. So yeah, I mean, there's 800 different avenues you can go to, but I think, you know, if you put out quality product, people are going to notice. I mean, if you make the video interesting, if you know, like me with time lapses and shit like that, I really want to get more into that type of stuff, because I basically need to teach myself how to be an amateur filmmaker and then also be an artist on top of that. So there's a million different ways you can go with it. But I think, like when I started, I did a lot of work for free. You know, I would just go up to random small businesses and be like, hey, look, you got a blank wall. Can I put something on it? And 9 times out of 10, they're going to say no. And you got to get to a point where the word no just rolls off your back, because if you don't, you're not made for freelance work. But yeah, just put yourself out there in any way you can. Hold art shows in random warehouses, or in the case of your friend, just I think social media still is the best way to go. I mean, some of the reels on Instagram are getting millions of views, and you're like, what the fuck? That's just a cat with a frog, you know?
Cat with frog videos. I hate them. I hate them.
Well, what you got your own business. You're up and running. Sounds like it took you a while to establish, but you're definitely established now. What are you doing? Because you don't have you're not working for a big company. You don't have a 401k. What are you doing for your retirement?
Roth and a traditional. And also, I need to look into the SEP, just like you, Sam, just like Howie recommended for you, because once it gets to a certain point, they got those limitations on there for contributions. So, I mean, you gotta look bigger and bigger.
Yeah, that's right. You're a young guy, man. Like I tell people, if you can sock as much as you can into these tax deferred investment vehicles, just put them into good, solid things. I mean, 20, 30 years, you're good to go. You don't have to worry about shit.
Compounding interest is the biggest motherfucker on earth. I mean, if you know about that, then you're set.
Yep. That's the 1,000-year-old question, which if you can figure that one out, you have no worries. Compounding, it's the most powerful thing in the world.
Yeah, man. Well, and that's what I like about coming on this a show like this as well, too, is because I think there's a lot of parallels between what you guys are doing, whether it's with podcasting or stand-up comedy. It's kind of a solitary sport. At the end of the day, it's just you in front of a shitload of people. And I know a lot of comedians and stuff like that have writers, and I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like the independent people with like what you guys are doing. I mean, I have a lot of respect for you guys in that sense, because like Sam said earlier, it was a scary time when he had to, think about putting those 2 weeks in. But once you did, it's like all or nothing. And I think you guys are doing fucking awesome.
Thank you, dude. So final question. If you had to give advice to someone who wants to start, I know you mentioned like cutting the cord, but if you go back and redo any one thing, like if I could go back in time and talk to young Sam in comedy, I'd say, shut the fuck up. Stop trying to right the wrongs. You're not a comedy vigilante. Okay. Just comedy isn't pristine. It's a whore. Let it go. It's none of your business. People jack your jokes. It's a sign of respect. Just keep moving forward. If you can give any advice to young people starting, whatever it is, what would it be?
I think if I could talk to my younger self or anybody starting out, I would say get your shit together at an early age, because I fucked around way past cool. I mean, I was stuck in Arrested Development until my early 30s. It took me meeting my wife for her to pull me aside and say, hey, listen, asshole, this is not how things are done. And I was like, oh, yeah, she's right. This is not how things are done. So I know it's easier said than done, but if you're out there partying every fucking weekend, it's not going to bode well for you. Get your shit together, get organized, get a website, get on social media, whatever you got to do. Put yourself out there, do free work for a while, then incrementally start charging more and more the more clients you get. And put the blinders on, man. You really have to disconnect, because if you sit there on your fucking phone all day, you're never going to get anything done. You really got to hunker down and work as hard as possible and as diligently as possible.
It's that self-discipline, man. That's the key.
Yeah,
you
man.
have to find something you love, because then it's not work. People are like, how do you do 7 podcasts? Well, because I'm a crazy person. I love talking. I love talking. I love doing stand-up. I love it. You got to find something you love, because if you do something you love, like there's people who go to jujitsu every day, multiple times a day, because they love it. It's not work. It's just love. You got to find something you love. And once you find something you love, you'll be able to mine it and make a living off it. That is the blessing of the internet.
Yeah.
So it helps. It helps if you have good support. Like it helps if you got a good bitch. And I mean, that's just the way it is, man. That female support just fucking pumping you, right? Right, babe?
Yeah.
Tell your girlfriend she could do better. I've been telling her that forever. She won't listen to me. People listen to me, good things happen.
She's known that for quite a while.
Yeah, people.
But, I keep her out of the Guantanamo Bay. That's what I'm here for.
Oh, jeez.
So last question. How much did the commission work?
How much of it? How much of my work is commissioned? Is that what you
No,
said?
how much to commission you to do a painting?
So
Like a
minimum,
postage stamp size, like, you know, just really.
Yeah.
So my minimum on commissions right now is 15,000, and that's for something that's right around.
That's
painting, dude.
Yeah. Sam's gonna be
Sam goes, I need to get a painting. Yeah, they
No,
don't
I'm
pay.
great at art, bro.
They
I'm
don't pay
great at
15
art.
grand for finger painting, Sam.
All right, let me show you some art I did. Hold on.
You can't finger
All right.
paint. He's got like 6 stick figures, probably.
This is fucking awesome. I can't wait to see what Sam did for art. I'm
This
excited.
would be great. Let's see. Yeah, I learned watercolor. I got a watercolor
Yeah.
kit. Pretty cool.
What medium is that? What is that? Oil on canvas? What kind of
I did
paint?
that with my
Yeah.
daughter. Look at that, bro. That's a
Fuck
Ninja
yeah, man.
Turtle. We did it
Fuck yeah.
together. I could make big bucks.
We go deep, homeboy. Aaron, open your mind. Drink from the fountain of knowledge. There's lizard people everywhere. That's some interdimensional shit. Wake up, Aaron.
This is only the beginning.
Dude, you just blew my mind. Tinfoil hat, tinfoil hat, tinfoil